Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wolfsden Radio Show, featuring me, Wolf King, Xbox Fiend, and Chuckle Almighty. He's not here right now, but he'll be here later on. This is the 5th episode and also the Halloween episode. Oh! I got one thing to say now. Step into the den. All right. So anyway,
what's been going on?
As I said, this good. Say what now?
So what's been going on?
Okay. Hey, you seen the trailers for that Ouija movie?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a couple previews. I haven't watched the full trailer.
Yeah, well, apparently, let's see. Pat Robertson actually has an opinion on that from Answering This Mother. Hold on, let me just turn up the clip. Let's see. All right, here it goes. It's playing out now.
It says a new movie called Ouija is currently in theaters. It's about communicating
Hold on.
with Mary. It says a new movie called Ouija is currently in theaters. It's about communicating with the dead through the Ouija board. Is there real harm in using a Ouija board, or is it just a game? Will it be harmful to see this movie?
It's harmful to see something, but if you begin to practice it is, because the reality is that you're dealing with the spirit. The spirit is causing a little I'm trying to think whatever they call it, but it goes around the letters instead of the words, and so you feel like some dead person. But actually it is communicating with the demonic spirits. It is a dangerous thing, and I strongly urge people not to get involved in it.
Okay, so that was Pat Robertson giving his opinion on that Ouija movie and then the Ouija boards in general, because he feels like it's related to demons or evil spirits. Now, as far as I can think about it, I mean, I actually seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my review on the whole Ouija movie. It's cool if you're like in the spirit of Halloween, but honestly, it's the whole plot in and of itself is kind of cheesy. I mean, you know, in terms of like you know how it ends up and its development. There is a twist, but you know it just makes B-rated. Honestly, the Ouija board is nothing more than just a simple superstitious toy for curious kids, curious and superstitious kids.
They put the power into it. Not the kids, but someone, and not necessarily always religious, but they're the ones that give it some other meaning and some other power. I mean, movies have used it as a scary thing to show with seances or something, but it's, I don't know, it's a bunch of woo to add stuff to that. It's a piece of cardboard with some ink on it and a little plastic puck. I don't care if you have a real set that's made out of wood and has a crystal in it. You're not tuning into the dead people with your crystal.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly people are superstitious by nature. I mean, that's sort of, I guess you could say that's sort of why I'm interested in looking at supernatural like cases and stuff like that and scrutinizing them. You know, like just seeing how well it fits into reality, and you know, that's sort of like why I do the whole skeptical rationalist type deal is you know I am curious about reality and how it works, but if there's something that apparently can't be explained through reason or scientific laws, yeah, I'd like to see it. But given the current track record, it hasn't been actually substantiated yet, and the Ouija board isn't any different. What do you think?
I've said it many times. I'm on here with conversations with people, and even the offer ones. If they have some truth that I don't have, I want it. I beg for it. I mean, I critique something. If I have a problem with something someone tells me about, I ask them about that problem and see if they can rectify it for me. I mean, if not, then it's fine. Oh, maybe the next person can. But I'm here to seek the truth, and I can go off my past experience as well, because when I was younger, I did have superstitions and believed in ghosts and all kinds of scary stuff. I played with Ouija boards, which always scared the crap out of me for the reasons that they're saying. But it's like it's like this old man is acting like a 12-year-old, like his mindset's still there that you're opening a gate to hell, and if you can open a gate to hell that easy with a piece of cardboard, like I said, and a plastic puck, it should be able to be shown, right? Should be able to be tested or at least repeated.
Yeah, it has to be falsified, just like I said in the Pillbox Hangout. But hey, Chaz, what's up, man?
Hate it.
Hello. Sorry for being tardy to the party, but I had stuff I had to do.
And we just started up. If you were here, we would just be getting to you.
Alright, awesome. What are we talking about?
Okay, we're talking about the Pat Robertson thing, and apparently you've heard of the Ouija board movie, right?
The Ouija board movie?
Yeah.
What's the Ouija? Is that the one with the kids where they're in like the thing and they do a Ouija board and it's like a Christian film, and then like all these people start dying because some Christians weren't true Christians, or
well, I don't think.
Like that.
Well, I haven't actually seen the movie. I don't think it's Christian oriented. It's really just about that typical teenager they play this game and people they randomly die at will and stuff like that because of some supernatural entity. Basically, one of Pat Robertson's fans wrote to him and asked if it's evil and stuff like that, and he gave the opinion that it's not talking to dead people, it's talking to demons and evil spirits and stuff like that, so you should avoid it because it's of the devil. And so what do you think about it, honestly?
And that was, Chaz, real quick, that my whole point summed down to I'd like to see you summon up some demons or whatever with a piece of cardboard with ink on it and a plastic puck. Or if you had a real wood with a crystal, I'd still like to see it. But you're awesome if you can do that for me.
I'm sorry, do we really think these things work? We kind of it's a film. It's fantasy. I'm getting tired of people who do not know the difference between fantasy and reality. If you don't understand the difference between fantasy and reality, you are delusional. Or acting delusioned.
I compared Pat Robertson to a 12-year-old.
Well, I'd say it's more like when Feminist Frequency says that there being a scantily clad woman in a video game or some woman getting punched in the face in a video game, it causes sexism and misogyny in our culture. It's just nonsense. People know the difference between fantasy and reality. In reality, can't hit women in the face. In my fantasy, yeah, sometimes there are women who annoy me and I'd like to punch in the face, but I don't. The same way there's plenty of men I'd like to punch in the face, but don't.
Yep, goes with children.
In Fantasyland, I can do whatever I like, and fuck, if I want to pretend that the Nazis I'm killing with a sniper rifle in Call of Duty might just be people who have annoyed me that day at work, well, I can do that. It's fantasy and reality. One place it's healthy, the other place it isn't.
Plenty of people go to a shooting range and put the picture of their ex or whatever on the target and shoot it as therapy.
Yeah, it's catharsism. And going back to this Pat Robinson thing, people know these things don't work. And these people are so out of tune with what reality is that they try and make it more like their fantasy, which is some sort of utopian society like in Demolition Man. But what they don't understand is that film was a warning, not an instruction manual.
Yep. And one thing before you go, Wolf, I have a neighbor here that would, if I brought a Ouija board over there, it would be the last time she ever let me visit. If I just walked in the door with the box in my hand. That's how.
I know, the people are fucking loonies.
Yep. He's almost 6.
Yeah. Nick, that is really interesting. People are honestly delusional. Look, I like, and just to comment on what Chaz says, I think it's an awesome fantasy if England went to war with Nazi vampires, and I like to see that fantasy. But I don't think that it can be substantiated within reality. That's the point. Honestly, this is just what seems to be an ancient pagan holiday that's been altered through modernity to be something fun for the kiddies. It's not like, even if it was born out of let's say dark reasons.
It wasn't even born out of dark reasons. That's the funny thing.
Right.
It wasn't born out of dark reasons, and even early Christianity would have fucking agreed with it. It was kind of the Middle Ages when things changed and all of this extra biblical stuff started getting attached to the religion. I mean, they have All Saints Day tomorrow as a Christian holiday. In the pagan tradition, it was All Souls Day. It was the Festival of the Dead. It's about celebrating death as part of life. That's all it is. Just like some people, when they have wakes, they celebrate the passing. They celebrate the life, not mourn the passing. And that's kind of what it was, because of all the trees, the leaves are dying on them. There was a lot of death around this time. The colder weather would have brought in a lot more death. So it's felt natural to celebrate death as an inevitable part of life. Because, you know, everybody dies.
Yeah. Crazy.
And it's now become a childish holiday about candy and trickery. And I'm sorry, if you say trick or treat to me, because we never had this growing up, if you say trick or treat to me, that gives me two options. And if I pick trick and you have nothing, then you can just kind of get the fuck off my doorstep because you've come half prepared as far as I'm concerned.
That same neighbor about the Ouija board doesn't let their kids dress up for Halloween. They turn all the lights off so nobody will come to the door. They treat it as a satanic day.
Oh, their old ladies have these stickers over here which say, you know, oh, no trick-or-treating, please. Because old ladies have become so fucking prompted by fear that the second the sun goes down, yeah? I mean, they live lives like they actually live in some sort of vampire movie. Where, like, the second the sun goes down, the curtains must be drawn, the door must be fucking locked and triple bolted. They're so scared that the second sun goes down, like, Death Eaters are going to come for them or some shit.
Since you've mentioned vampires twice, just give it 100 years or so, and the history books are going to talk about Abraham Lincoln being a vampire.
Not being a vampire slayer.
Vampire slayer. There you go.
George Bush was the vampire.
Yep.
No, he was a parasite, not a vampire.
Well, technically vampires. Well, same difference.
Yeah, vampires are parasites.
Yeah, they feed off of blood, don't they?
Yep. Yeah, they're parasites. I'd classify them as parasite.
Okay, let's see what we got next.
I would say them more to be like leeches.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we beat this all to death, right? About Pat Robertson and Supernatural Ouija board.
Hey, Mouty.
It's Mouty. What's up, man?
Oh, where did he go? Oh, there he is. He's back. We got Mouty in the housey.
Robot Mouty Mouse.
What's up, Mouty?
Gang.
All right.
There you are. We've all been
hey,
upstaged. Fuck the lot of us.
You popped in right at a good time. We're just changing topics. So.
Oh man, Google Plus is fucking everybody tonight, huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
we did last night.
Yeah,
too.
it's almost like your mama.
Let's get off mom's. Come on, I just got off yours.
All right. Yeah. We just got done bashing. We just got done bashing Pat Robertson and the Ouija board. And now we're gonna move on to, let's see, what's another fuckhead? Yeah. Okay.
Bring demons and all that. The Ouija board, if you play with it. The movie's propagating that we should play with Ouija boards. They want us to pull up.
Yeah, because everybody has a Ouija board in their house, or really any fucking party do that.
Hey, Matty, what do you think of Ouija boards? Are they a guide for evil spirits?
They're the best things to do cocaine off.
I used to have a Ouija board T-shirt. It just like was the print of the Ouija board on the T-shirt. I don't quite know what happened to that, but
I've seen those.
I think that they're nonsense. And man, in my family, you know, my aunt's, you know, my mom's one of 9 kids, and she's the second oldest. So most of her siblings believe in psychics, Ouija boards, things that are nonsense. And, you know, I have to keep a fucking tight lip around, you know, family functions. I just went to a psychic that told me all these awesome things. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I remember growing up, they're like, you should never use Ouija boards just because if you don't put it away correctly, it'll invite spirits from the other world into our world.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
That's what happened to your T-shirt, man. So, some demons walking around with your T-shirt now.
Yeah, that makes no goddamn sense. But okay.
Yeah, and they're gonna kill teenagers while they're trying to have sex and do drugs. Yeah, that's always a buzzkill. I used to worry about
having
all
sex and
the-
doing drugs isn't a buzzkill. It's just-
Yeah, I used to worry about that all the time because I was like the black guy in school, and like I was all like, oh shit, I know I'm gonna die first. I know they're gonna kill me off. That's the Supernatural's racist.
Only if you are in an episode of Star Trek.
If you got the red shirt.
Ensign, black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Please go there first. Oh, he died.
Yeah. I mean that always annoyed me about like any usual movie. If it's not an all black cast, you know the black guy is gonna die at some point.
Well,
Like,
come on. I mean, as the master race, I think would be sensible to send the darkie first. I mean, it's like the canary down the mine.
Oh yes, Massa. Let me be a human shield.
Yeah.
Wait a second,
That shit works.
I'm trying to think of the Matrix. Did what's his nuts die?
Morpheus?
Morpheus. Did Morpheus die before Neo?
Well, actually, he was kidnapped before Neo.
Mm.
I can't
Not
picture
that it's
when he
proven.
died.
See, another one of those situations, you see, that movie just propagates where the white man has to save the black man. Again.
I guess technically that would be that sort of be in a different. He represents a magic Negro in that he schools the white guy in like the wonders of the world so that he could one day dominate it.
Yeah. See, the white guy ends up dominating it when the other guy's been there, you know, years before him and had plenty of time to practice. White guy picks it up like that.
So wait, is Neo the
Yeah.
magic winner then?
No, essentially,
What's up,
Morpheus
Durga?
is the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes. I agree.
Hey, Draken.
All right, so hey, Durkin.
Oh,
All right, we're switching. All right, we're gonna be switching gears. Okay, who's that guy? Sean Hannity. Yeah, he's gonna talk to us about God.
Of course.
Oh no, Sean Hannity? Oh man, he is so right about most things.
Oh yeah, yes. Let's hear him. Let's see how right he is.
Let's start with this premise, which is how I view people in life, that every person, I believe that this is not random selection here. I believe that there is an all-knowing, all-powerful God that I think human beings are not even really capable of having any, even the slightest comprehension. If somebody can build universes within universes to perfection, how can you possibly comprehend the greatness of that? You cannot. And to me, every person, you know, whether you believe in the Bible, you read the Quran, I don't care what your faith is, but there's an interesting quote in the Bible that says, the very hairs of your head are counted. If the hairs of your head are counted, and you think all the billions of people on this earth, and you think of, you can assume then that the leaves of the trees are probably counted too. That is a depth of greatness, of supremacy, that none of us can comprehend. Now, if we're that important that our hairs are counted, and every human being has some talent that they're born with, the worst thing that you can do to somebody is incapacitate them by giving them too much, by giving them their daily bread that they're not working for.
Okay, apparently, now that was Sean Hannity with regard to helping people that are downtrodden, that are you know usually sick and hungry. You know it's kind of like the under if not working classes with regard to good Christian moral values and believing in God stuff. I just think
The
they have a
takers,
very-
not the makers.
yeah. They have a very twisted view of what Jesus would have wanted. Apparently, Jesus' self-described philosophy is given to everyone in need. You know, forgiveness. Blessed are the poor. It's easier for.
It's libertarian
easier for-
socialism.
No. It would be better though, but it's like a camel going through the eye of a needle than a rich man to go into heaven and all this, and they don't believe in that. Their version of Jesus is a white objectivist, Adam Smith loving capitalist who basically follows similar moral values to that of social Darwinism, and it's really messed up. I mean, it's not a matter of like creating like something of a welfare state. It's working to make sure more people have the capacity to work and help themselves, and that's altruism, and that's down to our most basic anthropological need or nature, in that we help others to better benefit societal well-being through individual autonomy and extending that. But what do you guys think? I'm curious.
Oh, well, the first part of what he was... I don't know how he's linking the two, but the first part of what he said is just outright nonsense, because we can comprehend that through designing games and such like that. We actually can count the number of hairs and such on like computer stuff that we've created, and that's similar to what God might be compared to us. And as far as you don't want to give people too much, I sort of agree with that, because, you know, you give someone too much stuff, then they do become complacent and they do become lazy. But it's a balancing.
I think we have almost like an innate drive, though, at a minimum. You might consider that lazy, but I think.
Yeah, but come on, Jesus gave 5,000 people 5 loaves and 2 fishes, so they all would have got a very small tuna sandwich.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's saying is the amount that of benefit people should get on the welfare state.
Right. That's what I got out of it.
You just want to balance it out. You don't want to give them like a...
He doesn't want to balance it out.
Like, what would you say?
Yeah, he's
like,
just using it as an excuse.
Let's give everyone a Porsche. That's not going to work. But giving everyone maybe a car, it will work.
I mean, Sean Hannity. I mean, he's part of the same party that thinks that still think that, you know, socialized healthcare is essentially Nazism. Yeah, that's the first thing when I think of Hitler. Yeah, he wanted to give the Jews healthcare. You know, that's what killed him. Fuck torture and, you know, and putting them.
He certainly gave a lot of disabled people showers.
Oh yeah.
Well, of course he was giving them health care. The unfit don't survive.
Right.
Duh.
More for the ones that are healthy.
Well, come on. Let's be honest, a lot of our research...
Move it over a little bit. What is it?
It's a ghost pepper. I'm about to eat it.
Oh, before you do, let me turn up my bandwidth.
Put it back up there. I've never seen one. I saw you kind of moving it, but I.
This is a hand-grown ghost pepper.
Oh.
A friend of mine.
Eat it.
A friend of mine from Florida just sent me a bouquet.
Nice.
I dare you to stick one of the seeds down your Jap's eye.
Is it not already burning your fingers? Ah! He's gonna go cut his lips out on that.
Oh.
I don't know that I can do peppers for like wasabi.
I forgave derp eyes.
Yeah, that's full of seeds.
Yeah, rub that seed down your Jap's eye. Go on, I dare you.
You get a glass of water there? You know what? Celery. If you have celery in your house, that will neutralize it.
No, actually, the oils and the capsaicin that the oils live in are alcohol soluble. So I have a beer right next to me.
Right on. Yeah. There you go.
Another good one is milk.
No, milk actually doesn't do anything.
Yeah, milk makes it worse sometimes. It spreads it around.
I've just always found that milk's neutralized it.
Yeah, it's because milk is a base, but in certain peppers it does make it worse.
That's why when you buy wings, when you buy buffalo wings, they have celery on the side. It's to neutralize it.
Okay, Mowdy, what do you think of Sean Hannity's view of what do you think of his view of behind God not wanting to help all people and stuff like that?
I think that holds a little truer to the Bible, the God that you find in the Christian Bible. I don't think it's the God of the Christian Bible, and I think Calvinists at least admit it, that he's not an all-loving God. I mean, he does for his glory, and that's it.
I think the thing is, if you look at Christians, they're so desperate to have things like examples of answered prayer, even though they're extremely post hoc ergo propter hoc examples, they still try and hold on to that, because I think, here's the thing, they want a reason to believe that God's there and doing stuff, but God can't actively be there and doing stuff, because then kind of it's obvious that he's there. They want it to be obvious that he's there, but they're not obvious because you need the faith part, because essentially he is imaginary and in your head.
Yeah, when you talk about him, you're actually talking to yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Also,
which is why God just seems to be a projection, morality-wise, of the people who believe in him. And
that's why I judge each claim that someone makes of a god, even if they're the same denomination. I judge them based on their claim of their god.
if we're referencing the Bible specifically, then I believe somewhere in there it does say God helps those who help themselves, and I do think that's a decent way to make a government. Is if you are trying to help yourself, then the government should help you. But if you're just sitting around doing nothing, and you can contribute, but you don't contribute.
Yeah, but at the same time, he was actually incorrect at first initially, because he talked about this isn't just random selection, and that's not even a real term. It's natural selection, which is extremely statistical and basically tends to choose out the necessary traits that are beneficial to organisms. And
well, it's basically what fits, what doesn't goes.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple of the main things that are sort of key with regard to the success of our species is the fact that we have the capacity to work within groups and our ability to access and gain new knowledge. I mean, that's sort of what led us to from developing the wheel and making fire and stuff like that to building hand tools, using animal fur for clothes and stuff like that, living in caves and then building shit. Then, millions of years later, we got cities and stuff like that, and cars and airplanes, and we're going out in space. I mean, but at the same time, we can't do that unless we're all doing our fair share, like actually contributing to collectively actually make a sustainable society. I mean, now, yeah, of course that. There might be some people who don't want to, pay their fair share, and a lot of those people tend to be really powerful, But it's a matter of like holding everyone accountable in that society to maintain it healthier for the sake of individual autonomy and societal well-being.
One could make the argument that they are making a contribution by becoming powerful, because in becoming powerful, they are providing a service to maintain that power.
I'm just saying,
Microsoft developing Windows, that's actually beneficial to the society, even if they're not paying their taxes. You could mark it off like that. I don't, but you could.
I'm just saying. My point is like some aspect of regulation within all aspects of society to encourage equality. That's what I think. But final thoughts, everyone, on that topic.
I think they're hypocrites. That's
That's about it. They're hypocrites, and they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I think they're I don't know if selfish is the right word, but they go off their own selfish behavior and then want to justify that.
Well, let's just be honest, a lot of these people who make these comments aren't poor working class people who are struggling to make ends meet. I mean, these people probably haven't known what ends meet even fucking tastes like.
Right. And speaking of which, we're gonna go with another dipshit crazy guy. Okay. Are you guys aware of who Keith Abloh is?
Yeah.
Nope.
Psychiatrist, or whatever, shows up on Fox News and does armchair diagnosis like Obama and.
Yeah. That guy, Keith Abloh, the guy who said that, who diagnosed Bill Maher from afar, called him crazy, and Chaz Bono, because he's a kid of Sonny and Cher, who because he's a transgender man, he must be crazy and trying to affect others with insanity, like through his form, which is kind of ridiculous and bigoted. But yeah, apparently he has a new concept. It's on American Jihad. Let's take a listen. Pulling up the clip in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, consider this idea, an American Jihad. That's what our own Dr. Keith Abloh is calling for in his new op-ed.
You see this quote. An American Jihad would embrace the correct belief that if every nation on earth were governed by freely elected leaders and by our Constitution, the world would be a far place. But now Dr. Keith is coming under fire for his idea. Why? Well, he joins us right now for a pause. Keith, let's start with, okay, you're calling for an American jihad. When you say jihad, what do you mean?
Well, I looked it up to make sure that I was being consistent with the spirit of the word, which is a struggle against non-believers. Those who don't believe in freedom, who don't believe in autonomy and liberty, are our natural enemies. And we need to again embrace the fact that we have manifest destiny as this country, as Americans, to not only remain American fundamentally in our own national character, but to spread our national character to other nations such that they would model ours.
Okay, well, here's an excerpt from it. It says, we would accept the fact that an American jihad could mean boots on the ground in many places in the world where human rights are being denigrated and horrors are unfolding. Because wherever leaders and movements appear that seek to trample upon the human spirit, we have a God-given right to intervene. Well, Dr. Ablow, the folks that are saying Allah Akbar are worshiping a far different God than the God that I worship, and they also have a history for hundreds of years having a completely different set of government. So will they understand this language that you propose I speak to them?
I think cancer understands chemotherapy and surgery, and ISIS should understand in America re-emboldened and throwing off the terrible sort of backlash that President Obama represented when he told us to be embarrassed of our national character, to believe we don't build our businesses. With an American jihad, every business that is built is an offering. Every tax dollar is a tithing to what? To the march of liberty here and around the world.
Right now, Dr. Keith, we're being out-marketed and out-advertised by a group of thugs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm getting at. Let's re-embrace the brand from on high, which is the United States of America and our commitment to liberty. We didn't survive tyranny. We didn't defeat people in every war we've ever fought, essentially, for no reason. It's not by accident. It's because we're aligned with something called the truth. We should be proud of it, and we should act on it.
Okay, now that was Dr. Keith Ablow with his explanation on what he considers American jihad to be. Apparently, we have the truth. Apparently, we're right. We're awesome no matter what, and we should essentially spread our message to other nations and tribes like that. And what he's doing is no different than any other empire. It's amazing that this guy is actually a psychologist, because what he's doing is no different than any other empire that has ever existed throughout history. It's no different than the Turkish Empire or the Chinese Empire or the Roman Empire. They all thought that they were right, that they had the truth, and they felt that they had to dominate other people and basically force their way of life and their ideology down the throats of others through conquest. I mean, what you think Hitler? Well, obviously, you think Hitler just woke up and said, I'm just gonna do evil shit. I'm just gonna wake up and do evil shit. After I brush my teeth and comb my hair, make sure it's all pretty. Or Osama bin Laden. When he's praying or freaking on the cell phone talking to his friends. You think he was all about let's go to that stone and talk about the next bombing event we're gonna plan. This isn't like a classic friend thing. This is something that has been going on since the dawn of time. I mean, it's not a matter of let's go conquer other people, because at that point you sound no different than ISIS or the fucking Taliban or Al Qaeda. How about this? How about we stick to common, basic, rational foreign policy and say, let's not fuck with the world. Let's focus on nation building, and we only get involved when the country is at risk. We only retaliate when we've been wrongfully attacked against. That's what should be talked about.
There's no money.
What do you guys think?
There's no money in that.
He's promoting Christian dominionism. It's nothing new, but I would agree with area that this sort of comes from is the city on the mountain, the shining city on the mountain. You're supposed to show an example to others, not just take them over and conquer them and then be that, and force them to take and be a certain culture.
Forcing people to believe what you believe or just believe something they don't believe is always a problem. all we need to do is teach people how to think, and they can work out what they believe on their own. You can show them what you think and all that, but their belief has to come to them on their own. I think that they're crazy. I don't see a difference between what you said, Christian dominionism and Al Qaeda or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, Christian dominionism is pretty much that Christianity has a destiny to take over the entire world, and it has to make it happen.
Right, and that's no better than any other thing that has ever happened with regard to a certain nation or tribe that combines God and country with over rampant nationalism or economic instability. It'll just it'll feed on itself and just and quarrel with others until there's negative results usually. And like I said, this does not promote the what I would think would be a nice, more progressive effort to produce a global community amongst the planet. You know, because we're only separated by those cultural ties or distance by water. You know. Chaz, you gave your thoughts.
Well, it is just all a bit of silliness, really.
There's no money for it in them if they would do what you were saying. Well, if they can go to war and keep that whatever, because it sounds like now that they have the war on terrorism, now they want to have the war on people that don't think like they think or don't believe what they think. Now they're gonna.
Well, the war on terror has gotten a bit stale, so they're picking a new enemy to fight.
Right.
Also, they're a little bit scared of people like ISIS because, you know, they believe in God too and have much the same sort of resolve against people that don't believe the way they believe. And so I think if I was a Christian, Islam would scare the crap out of me, as well as the fact that they probably are scared shitless of me too, because I'm much the same way.
Right.
I would like to classify it as the war of not me. War on not me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I actually the next story actually ties in a lot with that. It's actually the recent comments of well, I wouldn't say recent comments. The recent presentation of having Bill Maher speak at UC Berkeley. Apparently, wait, was it UC Berkeley? Yeah, UC Berkeley. Yeah, apparently some of the Muslim students were having a problem with him being there because he said some controversial things about Islam. Let's see. Let me bring up the article. Okay, here it is. MSN Entertainment. Bill Maher is saving for tomorrow to give his statement about the last development in an effort by University of California, Berkeley students to uninvite him as their 2014 fall commencement speaker. Because why should he give a statement to the press today when he can give it exclusively to himself tomorrow to goose his HBO late night show ratings? A group of undergrads at the University of California is getting one of those important life lessons that will serve them so well in years to come about the pitfalls of inviting an outspoken, politically minded, avowed atheist comic with a TV show deliver their commencement speech, only to have him make provocative comments on this TV show with which they strongly disagree. I didn't write this crap. Just so you know. This week, the committee of undergrads tasked with selecting the speaker, the Californians there modestly met and vowed to withdraw the invitation they had extended to Maher in August to seek at the December clam bake, but the very next day, yada yada yada. The university has not in the past and will not in the future shy away from hosting speakers who seem provocative, yada yada yada. Okay, let me get to the direct thing that he said. It all started when on the October 3rd episode of his politically provocative show, Real Time with Bill Maher, when the fierce satirist as he had been called by his friends and foes, said, "Islam is the only religion that acts like the mafia that will fucking kill you if you say the wrong thing, draw the wrong picture, or write the wrong book." This comment inspired a petition on change.org to have Maher yanked as commencement speaker, complaining Maher is a blatant bigot and racist who has no respect for the values of UC Berkeley students and administration stand for, and that in a time where climate is a priority for all on campus, we cannot invite an individual who himself perpetuates a dangerous learning environment. So far, it has 4,000 signatures, but that could change after tomorrow night's real time. But you know, what I think about this, and to the best of my knowledge, he's actually still going to give that commencement speech. But honestly, see, this is focusing on the earlier development of his talkings with Sam Harris and Ben Affleck. It's all about that atheists are too hard on Islam, but liberals are too soft on it. I mean, sure, I'll grant that some moderate Muslims who just want to practice their religion and live their life, you know, aren't all those guys are not batshit crazy. They actually, you know, are reasonable. However, that doesn't mean that we should have our ideas and our free speech limited because of these you know, misconceptions, because there are legitimate criticisms that can be made. Like, for example, the whole Draw Muhammad thing. You know, if you draw the depiction of Muhammad, you know, these guys will come after you. They'll threaten you. They'll try and kill you. If you write a book based on some criticism like Salman Rushdie did, they'll put a fatwa on your head. And even in parts of the Middle East with regard to this whole theocracy, Sharia law thing, in Saudi Arabia, atheists are labeled terrorists. Now look, I'm not saying that I'm thinking like Keith Abloh, like America or Western civilization are just naturally superior to what the folks in the Middle East do. But you know, with the way we structure laws in society, we don't structure it in a way that makes human rights look like a piece of shit. You know, we learn, we progress, we make it better so that with regard to modernity, it has a better chance for freedom and equality and equal opportunity for everyone, and not based on the discrimination of religion, authority, or tradition, because those are outdated concepts. Mm-hmm. But what do you guys think? I'm curious.
The same thing I thought about when it happened to Ayaan Hirsi Ali. If it is the case that they were actually going to say something that were in line with what they are saying on their shows or in their books or whatnot, it's not appropriate for a commencement speech, and they have every right to say that stuff and get them out of there. But I do agree with what he says in general. It's just not the platform for him to be speaking like that on. That's all.
I kind of missed what he said, or what he was trying to make the commencement speech out of.
Yeah, I don't know what his commencement speech is actually saying. If it is something that is hateful towards Muslims or something like that, which I can very much see Bill Maher doing, then it's not appropriate for him to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but is he really going to say anything like that?
Yeah, that's the question.
And if so, they have to know that, otherwise you're punishing somebody for a crime they haven't committed, which isn't justice. It's more of that social idea that you've got justice.
Yeah.
What was that Thought Crime movie?
In the case of Ayaan Hirsi Ali, they actually had the published thing there, and yeah, it was bigoted, and from what I saw.
That's usually how they have it. They usually have a copy that's written up and given to them for review beforehand.
I mean, just think about it. If you were in that position, if you say you were well, we actually have been in that position as atheists, where you go to something and it's just supposed to be like a secular thing, and suddenly they're talking about Christianity or Muslim or Islam or anything like that. It's not appropriate to have in something that should be secular like that. This is your day as much as it is theirs.
What's the commencement speech for?
It's just ceremonial, inspirational towards the future, like giving advice towards the future, pretty much.
Yeah, some of that nature, but yeah, at the same time, they shouldn't be censoring him for, you know, he has like a word to say, you know, because like he's an awesome comic. I mean, sure you might put up with the vaccine thing, of course, but I mean, like I said, there are some honest criticisms that can be made of Islam at the fundamentalist level. I mean, it's not like he's attacking individual moderate Muslims or all Muslims in general. Just that at the fundamentalist level. Now, could he offer more caveats? Sure, but at the same time, he shouldn't be censored because you know that's not helping anything. It's just it's just if anything, it's helping the fundies with regard to just not questioning it
No,
at
the
all.
points are legitimate that he brings up. It has nothing to do with it. The point is that it's not the appropriate place for it.
And that's, I agree with that to an extent, because things like the Constitution, people get it twisted up about the freedom of speech. That's not the freedom you can talk whatever you want, wherever you want. Our Constitution goes on that they can't make laws against you having free speech. The Congress can't make laws against your speech. But I think private place or public place, whatever, he should have to have this beforehand. They should have to approve it, and that should be the only kind of censoring that goes on.
I'm sorry though, if you're inviting Bill Maher, you know what you're getting. You've seen his shows.
Yeah, but
you've seen the comments that he's made and the comments that have been made about him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like.
But you're not hiring him as a comedian.
Well, I mean, if you go on a TV show where they're known to really grind in against people, yeah, then you know what you're getting yourself in for, really.
Yeah, true, and also that is also part of what the petition and stuff is for, is so that if students actually know about what he says on these areas, they can review it and be like, no, we don't want this person at our commencement.
Right.
So they're not in the wrong. It's just,
right.
And it's not censoring him. It's just, no, this person isn't appropriate for this thing. And maybe you thought he was because he's famous or something like that, which is what a lot of times happens.
Well, and I think they should even do a little bit of censoring and say, if you're willing to do something along these lines, we would accept it. But if not, then you're not the person for the job, essentially. So along with what Draken said, but still adding a caveat to let him still do it if he wants to censor himself, essentially, I guess.
Why don't they just speak to Bill Maher? I mean, what's all this stuff with bringing it out into the public, making a spectacle of it? All they needed to do was go and have a quiet word with old Mr. What's-his-face and just say, Mr. Maher, you know, we have these concerns, and he could have said, no, I totally understand your concerns, don't worry, I'll change this bit of my speech or something like that. That's all that needs to happen. None of this other bitchy priss moaning and fucking, because this is somebody's little bit of agenda pushing, I have a little feel. This is somebody else sort of saying, your morality doesn't match mine, therefore you're bad.
Yeah, but we don't know. Like, do we know who actually is reporting this? Like, where it came from? Is it?
I think it came from some like a Muslim student group who was who are moderates, but like still as liberals. They don't.
Oh, so it could just be them.
They consider
out for revenge.
Yeah, they consider him to be like a bigot and like inciting hate speech and stuff like that. I'm like, you know, look, honestly, yeah, sure, caveats can be added if necessary, but at the same time, censoring him is like it's not fair. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why
it's undermining like free speech and stuff like that.
Well, that's why that's what I was saying. Free speech and the Constitution isn't just you can say what you want where you want. But even beyond that, I wasn't saying that they should censor it. I'm saying that they should give it back to him and say, we would accept something along these lines. If you want to censor yourself, okay. If not, we'll find someone else.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Go beyond that.
they didn't need to make this a public event, but the question is, who's actually making it a public event?
Right. Yeah. Who's running it?
Sounds like a bunch of Muslim students who are playing the media professional victim game. You know, they're trying to just sort of say that they need some protection and some attention, and it's just the same as like 90% of the people at the moment, like Anita Sarkeesian and all that. All of them trying to push their agenda in the media and use some helpful victim narrative to try and make them look like the good person. Nah, sorry. I'll agree Bill Maher's a cunt, but it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, with a bunch of people who are playing, oh, look at me, I'm a poor little muzzy. You know, just seriously cut that shit out. You've got more stuff to deal with your life than this crap, and if you really don't, well, I feel sorry for you.
I think any group would react that way if they thought they were going to be denigrated by the person, but they still thought the person's value being there could be good. Any group, you know what I mean? I could see a Christian group doing that. I could see a fucking bowling league doing it. I mean, they had it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but bowling leagues don't try and use the fact that they're a bowling league to try and sort of show why they should be outraged by this thing.
That would actually be incredibly hilarious if they tried.
I know, right? I know, I couldn't think of anything else. It was going to pop in my head. I was trying to think of another group.
But even as not a Muslim, I'd look at this and I'm like, I don't want them in there because I don't want that shit in my commencement speech either.
Right. And it's their commencement speech, or I'm guessing, but if it's theirs, then they have the right to, like I was saying, have him censor himself or find someone else. They don't have to have him there, kind of thing. They don't. If he doesn't want to go by their rules, then move on. And I agree, it shouldn't have been sensationalized at this point. Even this should have been handled in private.
I just have this mental image of Bill Riley throwing a hissy fit going, well, I don't have to be here.
Like I said, I think the Ayaan Hirsi Ali thing has come from this same school, so this isn't the first time this happened with Berkeley. It is.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I think the Ali one was actually her putting it out there rather than them.
Oh, come on, it's just more oversensitive liberals.
Yeah, hopefully everyone will have the potential to, like, you know, express their ideas openly in a rational discourse, because that's what this is essentially, built on an open forum. That's the essence of free thoughts. You can express your ideas, and as long as they're based on, you know, sound reason and logic and
why should they be
empiricism and stuff like that,
why should
it can be accepted and trusted.
What I was getting at
why
is
should they
this
even
is
censor to that?
No. I like what you have to say.
what I'm saying though is that if this is the same college that Ali was going to, and they had this happen, and Ali was the one that brought it up, then they're just sort of going and bringing it up before they get put in the villain category, which they did in the Ayaan Hirsi Ali thing.
Well, why should they censor it to being rational and all those things you just listed? Why should they even have to censor it to that? And if you're saying they shouldn't censor things.
No, I'm saying like they should have like everyone should have the potential to actually speak their mind to the boundaries of reason. That's what I'm getting at, because if they're, you know, it just building on the previous point when I mentioned that, you know, if it seems like these ideas when applied through something related to, like, on a sociological basis, then yeah, there are some areas at which it could be scrutinized to make some improvements, you know, things like that. I mean, that's what humans tend to do. We look at stuff, and if we find some type of errors, we strive to, you know, at least a rational bunch of us, like, actually strive to produce some type of spontaneous order through it.
That's what I'm saying. You're in the rational camp, and you're saying that they should limit it to at least being rational, but in censoring? Why not let the crazy?
I'm not saying like I'm not saying that only rational people should have the discourse. I'm saying everyone should have that ability, and as long as it's based on that it could be accepted. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. If the people are, I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So so I think we sort of put this to bed. Like we all final thoughts on this. Okay. Then that's settled. Now we're gonna go on Chris Christie. Now apparently he's getting a bit defensive against like a protester of the whole hurricane deal. What was that? The Sandy. The Hurricane Sandy. Yeah.
Is that the one that hit New York and flooded the subways and all that? For Jersey.
Yeah. And apparently he's getting really emotional with this guy. Hold on a second. Let me pull up the clip. Okay, I got it. Here it is. Okay, this is Chris Christie sort of giving his response to this guy who apparently thinks he's not doing a good job as governor of New Jersey.
Say that again.
Thank you very much. I got the picture. I read it. Okay, so you do yours too, buddy. So we know we know. Now listen, you all know me. So if we're going to get into a debate here today, it's going to get very interesting and very fun. So, yeah, I understand. So I'll be more than happy to have a debate with you anytime you like, guy, because somebody like you doesn't know a damn thing about what you're talking about except to stand up and show off when the cameras are here. I've been here when the cameras aren't here, buddy, and done the work. I've been here when the cameras weren't here and did the work. So I'm glad you had your day to show off, but we're the ones who are here to actually do the work. So turn around, get your 15 minutes of fame, and then maybe take your jacket off, roll up your sleeves, and do something for the people of this state. So we'll see. Now listen, everybody. Good. And there's been 23 months since then when all you've been doing is flapping your mouth and not doing anything. So listen, you want to have the conversation later, I'm happy to have it, buddy. But until that time, sit down and shut up.
Yeah. All right. So that was Chris Christie giving his response to that protester of the whole Sandy hurricane thing. Now, I can understand his frustration to a small degree in that he's trying to give a speech and this guy is a bit of a heckler. But at the same time, that is a fair criticism. In fact, it's a damn good one because his whole position is actually under $800 million with regard to fixing this problem, and he hasn't done a damn thing about it since. And and he's getting defensive, and we all know that this guy he was seen as a sort of like a big gleaming star for the Republican Party. He was involved in an earlier controversy earlier this year with that highway thing.
Yeah, when he shut down.
But if he's talking about like he gets to work, yeah. But if he's talking about getting the job done, he's been seriously lacking. These people are in the aftermath of this disaster, and he still hasn't done anything yet. He's sort of he's sort of left holding the blame. So skepticism, it's not too far deserved in this case. But I'm curious about what you guys think. What do you guys think about this?
I don't know about the specific situation, but generally speaking, even a lot of politicians do actually a lot of work, and it just doesn't look like it because they're held by. There's more than just one of them. He doesn't just go, "Hey, I want this done. You do it." It doesn't work like that, and that's what a lot of people are expecting. So if that's the case, then it's wrong to be blaming him for not being able to get anything done. It's actually
Okay, let me.
body in general. That's the problem.
Okay, I'm just gonna spit a bit more facts here, and I'm gonna put the thing for this in the chat so you guys can see. But yeah, only 20% of those dollars have gotten to the people. James Kennedy told MSNBC host Chris Hayes. Of the 1.1 billion, only 219 million has gone out. That means that the governor and his staff in Trenton are in fact sitting on $800 million. Okay, now according to the Kennedy's advocacy group, Finish the Job, Christie's administration has mismanaged the rehabilitation, reconstruction, elevation, and mitigation, or REM, while boasting about success in the public eye. Yeah, photo ops, Christie, President Obama, everybody walking on the beach, kumbaya, giving hugs. He said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he faced off with them, and while he was giving a speech, and you know this, he sort of this was Christie's defense mechanism in that he got defensive and saying, you know, oh, this is my town. I've been here when you haven't, and well, this is a good reason. It's because, you know, we're sitting in the aftermath of this disaster. You're sitting on millions of dollars, and you haven't done a damn thing to improve it. You can do a better job than what you're doing.
Yeah, and that may be the case with the entire electorate, but it may not be the case with him specifically. He may be trying really, really hard to get stuff done, and he just might be blocked.
There's a chance of that, but it's all the signs point to that's not the case with him. With all the stuff he's been in the past, and all the scandals he's been involved with, actually admitted to finally. And
Chaz, what do you think?
Well, these days corruption and politicians goes hands in hand with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all bent. And anybody who doesn't think they are really hasn't paid any attention to how politics works.
Yeah.
And how human beings function. They get a little group together. I'll tell you where most of that money's probably gone. It's probably gone on to making new city jobs for his friends to do as part of some think tank or Quango.
Yeah. Well, there's no telling. I mean, he'd get in real trouble for if it completely disappears, but I mean, there's ways to legally launder it.
I know 30% of that money is going to wings.
Well, he can legally play it in the stock markets on insider information as well.
He can also put it in the Pizza Hut with his fat ass.
He probably already has stock in that.
What do you mean by in the hands of the people? Like, what do you mean by that? Because I would expect them to be putting in the hands of like companies that will rebuild the city rather than just giving them tax returns or something like that.
No, they give it to the people that have their losses, just like with Katrina. A lot of people didn't get their losses from the government for it. Like a lot of them ended up homeless, who had a home, but run into problems of proving or it belonged to their dead relative or something, and now they're out the home. But the way Katrina worked, like my neighbor here is from there, they actually got a check, which is how they bought their house here. So they get reimbursed at a certain amount.
Yeah, and the fact that he's kind of like mismanaging this money, because I know this guy has enough experience with regard to like how you disperse resources to help the society at large. I mean, if you're at the level of governor, so I mean, if you're sitting on the majority of cash and dispersing just a fraction of the totality of that, it's sort of, you know, and I hate to repeat the same pattern as Chaz does. It's sort of like Anita Sarkeesian with her Kickstarter thing saying she got 5 times as much earned than what she asked for. I mean, you know, it's and apparently not doing much to produce the little content that she has out there. So, well, but despite being in the public eye, I think that's a pretty damn good analogy for it.
Yeah. Well, has he given an excuse why the money hasn't gone out faster or what they're expecting, kind of thing?
Well, okay. Let's see. Just in his defense, supposedly.
Maybe I all of it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, nothing really other than this. Other than that speech, and says. Other other than that, yeah, I got 1,000 things to do. I'm working hard and stuff like that. Yeah, he'd have dinner with the guy, but told him first to sit down and shut up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other than the last part, his accusation that he does the work despite it's shown not to. Yeah, that, and I mean, he's this potential to be anything besides just like a crooked ass governor. It's nothing. Like he was once considered to be like to go for a run for the Republican candidate for president, but because of his shady ass dealings and the fact that he's been demonstrated on several occasions to be a scumbag with regard to that whole highway thing and and this recent
cute.
And this recent action. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, everyone knows that this guy is not a consistent person. It's obvious. But what do you guys think? Final thoughts?
Did you just say you didn't that he was too much of a scumbag for the Republican Party?
Yep, pretty much.
So, yeah.
That's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? I thought you had to be a scumbag to get in that party.
Yep, that's a good closing statement, probably from all of us. I don't think you can get more than that.
Right. Let's see. Another story on there. There's actually one. Hold on. Let me pick up the article for it. Talking about episodes very quick. Let's talk about like a little bit of like public atheism right quick. So, have you seen are any of you curious of the recent ID hysteria and butthurtness that we've seen on the internet and on Google Plus?
I saw it on the news this morning when I woke up.
Yeah, with the majority of them complaining that ID is not regarded respectfully as an intellectual alternative theory aside evolution and emergence and other things. I mean, with the recent trampling of well, I wouldn't say trampling, but crushing of true empiricism and by Aaron Ra. I mean, it's sort of manifested that other more like less known are sort of striving to like meet the burden of proof that's necessary for accepting this in terms of science. Have you noticed this? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I wasn't necessarily able to follow that.
Yeah, you weren't very clear on what you're trying to ask us.
I got that they're trying to push ID or they're trying to push ID into science again.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was my bad. Like like a sense of desperation, because I think that the idea is kind of dead in the sense that it has no intellectual content, and then that they're trying to push their dogma and it's sort of like a manifest of their theistic beliefs.
Where are they trying to push that?
Well, I'm not talking. Well, I'm just talking about with regard to society.
Oh, gotcha.
Like putting it in school and stuff like that,
Just in general.
Well, firstly, it does have some intellectual area there. It's but not in the way that they're putting forward. It's like the simulation theory of it does have from there, but then even there you would have to go back to some sort of evolution. So, in every single area in which intelligent design. You could propose if you set back the thing that is the intelligent designer would have to be some sort of evolved thing. So it's an explanation on some level, but it's not an explanation for everything that we're talking about.
And I think I could be wrong, but I think whenever we put stuff like that in science books for school, even at a college level, is that it's stuff that has been peer-reviewed and shown to be the best scenario we have, the best theory that we have on the subject. What the most evidence points to. Not necessarily which one is exactly the case, but we don't teach every one of them that possibly could be. And ID doesn't fit into one of those that possibly could be.
Chaz, you descend from the country of Darwin. What do you think of this?
I think the entire intelligent design thing is nonsense, because essentially it kind of hinges way too much on being tied with God. That if there is some sort of intelligence, there's a being, and if there's a being and it's the creator, then it's Jehovah.
Mm-hmm. You've seen me argue the past 2 weeks that exact point, and no one's bridged that gap for me. Yeah, I for the sake of argument, I grant intelligence, and they can't get me to a God from that intelligence.
Mm.
Yeah, you can't even grant science because it breaks the first rule of science, because everything is supposed to work according to laws of physics, and that's sort of where you can infer like coherence and models of predictive power. I mean, that's essentially how the scientific method works with regard to understanding the observable universe, recognizing how stars stay on course, and seasons change and repeat. Stones predictably falling by gravitational forces and stuff like that. Atoms producing the matter and matter and energy essentially working via laws of nature. I mean that's how we understand how all this stuff works, from the subatomic to the biosphere and the rest of the cosmos. I mean, then its growth and complexity is a matter of time and variation, and that's inherent within biological evolution and cosmic evolution in terms of how these things, how these complex structures come about and stuff. But creationism, even if we do grant them a God, they have to be honest to ask the next best step.
No. I just assume the intelligence for the sake of argument. I don't assume that intelligence is a God.
Well, okay, yeah. I'm just saying, like, with regard. Well, yeah, whether you call it intelligence or consciousness, whatever, you gotta ask the next question. Where did that consciousness come from? I mean, it's complex. I mean, if you say
where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Intelligent design.
Exactly. Otherwise, you could say the potential for that complexity always been inherent within the universe and be done with it.
You don't have to once you assume the intelligence. It's not your job to provide where that came from or anything. It's for them to show you how it's a God. They can try to say you're going into infinite regress, but that's a totally separate issue. You're not trying to figure out who made them and them. You're only trying to figure out what that intelligence is. If they want to jump back to who created them as God, then they need to provide evidence to what created it.
Yeah, I think Carl Sagan said it best. Every cell is a triumph of natural selection, and we're made of trillions of cells, sort of like composed of entirety things, sort of like similar to like a little miniature universe that, given time and variation, it will diverge and branch out, produce symmetrical patterns and ultimately complex structures. I mean, these are some of the things that molecular entities can do, given 4 billion years of evolution. I mean, we are, each of us, a multitude. That's sort of the inherent emergence that's within our universe.
You have to assume deep time.
With regards to teaching it in schools or anything like that, it goes along the same routes of why we don't teach a lot of things in school, even though they might be true.
Yeah. That was my point. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Also, the separation of church and state thing.
Well, no, if it's actually a scientific theory, then it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about, say, like one of the things that I always put forward is, why is the sky blue? Well, based on who you're talking to, you're going to answer that differently. And the same thing with the when you're talking about education. Certain levels of education are more ready to handle that, and it's if you teach beyond that certain level of education, then you're just going to confuse them, and you don't want that to be the when you're trying to educate someone.
Yeah.
So that's why you would leave that out, even if it is a possible theory.
Right. Yeah.
We want to work. We want to work hard so that kids could be scientifically literate and ultimately work to become geniuses and masters of society, so that they could actually work to make it better and come up with new discoveries, advancements, and stuff for the betterment of people. And they can't learn that after learning about how they were once produced by like a rib and dust recipe. That's
No,
not
it's perfectly fine for them to learn that. It's just that it would be a confusing thing when you're teaching alongside evolution. You should only be teaching things that we generally have proof that is the case.
And if you want to learn, about creationism, there's a name for that. It's called church.
Exactly.
No, even if it is a scientific,
I'm sorry, but Britain banned the teaching of creationism in schools, science classes, and that's the way it should fucking stay.
Yeah, Dee was telling us about that not too long ago.
Agreed.
And the point I was making earlier about we need to teach people how to think.
I'm sorry, but you can jazz up anything and try and say that it's science, but it's not. It has to have credibility behind it. You trying to ham-fist science into justifying your woo is, not appropriate. Kindly stop it.
Exactly. All right, we're switching gears now. All right, found the funny story. We're gonna do 2 more stories, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. But okay. And apparently, and Chaz, now I want your insight on this. Now this is a story about a guy who Naked Rambler wants junk laws to change after 7 years. And a man's fighting for the right to be naked in public. All right. Oh, okay. A British man who has spent a total of 7 years in jail for going naked in public lost his legal battle to wear no clothes on Tuesday, as Europe's Human Rights Court told him he must respect the feelings of others. Stephen Goff, dubbed the Naked Rambler by the British media for his bid to trek the length of the country wearing no more than a hat and a bulky rucksack, has faced some 30 convictions for public order disturbances and other offenses. Goff argued that European laws on respect for private life and freedom of expression gave him the right to nudity whenever he chose it, but the Strasbourg-based European Court of Human Rights, or the ECHR, ruled that they did not apply given his deliberately repetitive antisocial conduct. He had plenty of other ways of expressing his opinions, it concluded. Okay, so that's
basically reality.
Well,
okay. Yeah. Obviously.
I mean,
hold on a second. I just want to pick a point. Yeah, I'm all for freedom. I'm all for equality and human rights and everything. But if you want to be naked, do it in your own house, dude. Don't bring that shit outside. Now there is such a thing as a nude beach, but that's it's restricted within certain clubs that we'll get together and agree on these certain things. But there are limitations within a group and society in general. You can't force that on everyone else. That's what I'm stating. But what are your thoughts? I'm curious.
The problem with that finding is not the finding that it wasn't right for him, but what the judge said is that you have to regard other people's feelings. That is completely wrong, and it sets a horrible precedent. And I'm sure you guys can expand on that.
I see, with the sort of like the libertarian values that I have, and the kind of idea of judge not, yes, be judged, and because all this guy is some harmless weirdo. He is the antithesis of the Hitchhiker's Guide. He is mostly harmless. So he wants to wear just his fucking nuddy suit, and I mean, everyone's got a naked body. It's just, if he wants to walk around, the length of Britain, butt fucking naked, I wish him all the best. It's completely nuts, but have at it. I think people are being a tad prudish in this sentiment, but there is a wider issue here. We do share space. And just as he has every much right to be naked in this world, I have every right to not really want to see it.
Right.
So, I mean, to make social graces and social cohesion and shared space so much easier among human beings, we compromise. We wear clothes. If you're in your own house, do whatever you like. But when you're sharing space with others, you don't own it over them, just as the same right as they don't own it over you. So it's just one person trying to get his way in the face of somebody else not getting their way type thing. It's just nonsense. What the judge really should have said is, if you don't get out of here, I'll bash your heads together. That's what he should have said.
Well, and we have a social contract.
I'm a judge. I'm supposed to do fucking serious shit, not, you know, field table you two arguing like school children over who gets to waggle their todger out. And fuck off. That's what I mean. If I was judge on that situation, it'd have been shut the fuck up.
I love the British. They're fucking awesome. Nick, what do you guys say?
Oh, nothing. That was it. That's all I can think on it.
Honestly, yeah. Like I said, if this guy wants to be naked, there are, you know, like I said, there's certain reservations in places that he could exercise that and you know, like exercise his freedom or whatever to do that. But that's just not the correct. That's not the accurate way to just walk around like in public nude just because you feel that way. I mean, you know, when you have your own house and you have like your own clubs that you're a part of, sure, but to do that would be forcing it on other people, and that's just against the principles that make Western civilization tolerable. And
I've got an idea, because I know what Britain's actually like. Now, where I live, it's quite rural. There are plenty of places you could go around here where no one's going to see you. I've had outdoor bonks up to the wazoo. It's not really against the law here if you're doing it out the way of people. So really, this guy has every right to, while he's walking the length of Britain, if he's in the middle of nowhere, he can take all his kit off and walk through a cornfield butt naked and teabag every blade of corn in that fucking field, yeah? Or every blade of grass he goes past, yeah? He can happily teabag the log of them. When he gets to the... Shush, do you reckon? No one's talking to you. When he...
David Blaine.
maybe. When he gets to town, yeah? If he's going into a town to go to a shop, buy a drink or what have you, he's going into a little village, all you do is you slip your pants back on. You know, and then once you leave and you're out of fucking eye shot, you can whip them bad boys off and wear them as a fucking hat. Put them on the end of a stick and call it your flag. You can sing the national anthem while you do it. I care not a jot. When you're coming into my town, though, just stick your pants on, mate. Come on.
I think
that's it. He has every freedom to do that already under British laws.
I think you should put a sign on the city limits of, like, London. That's necessary.
Yeah.
That would solve the entire situation.
No shoes, no shirt, no pants, no stay.
Because I'm like totally for him to be walking around naked wherever he wants, but at the same time, I think that
you don't want to see his shriveled up old ball sack.
Yeah. If you run a place, then you're perfectly able to say you have to wear a shirt or whatever to enter here. And as such, the people can't say you have to wear shirts and pants in this area of the city.
This guy should start a Kickstarter, and I'd fucking support him 100% on it. And he should start a Kickstarter to make like his own nudist colony, buy a nice big patch of land, build a nice building, or maybe take over some old mansion or something like that. And then everybody can go there who wants to live that kind of lifestyle, and kind of like they can grow weed on that fucking place and play the bongos till 11 a.m. and run around naked for the rest of their lives and do whatever. And fuck, I might even join them for a fucking week.
Apparently the Brits are some free-spirited motherfuckers, and they have my respect for that. That is cool. But okay, we're switching gears. Let's see. I think this is going to be the last story. Let's see. Okay. Now, Jody Heiss suggests taking the Bibles out of schools led to pedophilia at Penn State. Okay, Republican Jody Heiss, a conservative radio host and candidate for Georgia's 10th district, suggested that removing the Bible and prayer from schools, apparently keeping that secular neutrality with regard to state, church and state, it's causing the harm with regard to like pedophilia or something.
If Bible stop.
Hold on. Let me just read this claim. The whole issue is a morally corrupt nation. Is where we are. You can go back decades whereas we first kicked the Bible out of schools and prayer out of schools, and we've just basically been going downhill since then. You get what you get. You know you kick God out, and people need to understand the Judeo-Christian worldview that this country was founded upon, places within the heart of individuals and the culture at large the capacity to self-govern themselves on the basis of right and wrong. When that is removed, you get exactly what we're witnessing at Penn State: the absence of the ability to govern one's life based upon right and wrong, and you have things like pedophilia taking place and other people seeing it, witnessing, turning their back because there's no core values of right and wrong. And we are now suffering as a nation for that. Unless we experience a spiritual awakening, I don't see any light in the immediate horizon that's going to turn this around. Now, just to comment on that, I think that's complete bullshit. In that it's not a matter of the state neutrality to keep separation between the church and state and with regard to schools. It's a matter of ensuring that you have that, so you ensure like the best chances for equality with regard to human rights, and that's important. More importantly, I think it's curious that he wants to say that essentially pedophilia is a result of secularism, but he doesn't want to bring up anything like the Catholic Church, with this scandal of molesting little boys and little girls and stuff like that, or this recent case with this preacher guy who had sex with a dog's butt, but he's not gonna. But that's not coming up to speed at all.
Well, I'm sorry,
what do you guys think?
If Bibles really stopped pedophiles, there wouldn't be so many Roman Catholic priests molesting children. It's just, no, I'm sorry. The Bibles in there probably encourage pedophilia because pretty much everybody who was doing it in the Bible was pretty much a child. So, I mean, yeah, can't really go on with that one.
I think the U.S. has been morally corrupt since we tossed out the Native Americans.
I think the U.S. has been morally corrupt since they no longer wanted to sing, God Save Our Queen.
Why would we want to save your queen?
Because she'd be your queen too.
Well, our country was founded on philosophy and a shitload of other misconceptions. So, well, I mean, we're like praising a bunch of cousin fuckers. Yeah, that's not. We just think that's bullshit now. But the point is with regard to this particular statement, yeah, like pedophilia, that's the baggage of several fundamentalist religious folks with regard to their sexual hang-ups and stuff like that. And more importantly, they're having their own conspiracy. They're talking about don't fuck don't fuck people that are engaged in sexual immorality, and they're doing that behind closed doors. I mean, hell, I bet you Jody Heiss probably looked at some young dude and said, I have to fight back the lust. I have to fight back Satan.
Well, there was one priest who died of a very interesting asphyxie wank wearing a rubber diving suit.
we actually have a report of this fat preacher dude who ended up dying with like a gag ball in his mouth and something up his ass or something like that.
Might be the same guy.
I point out that them having this view might be because they are actually gay or bisexual, and they are saying, like, relating it to their personal experience, the reason why they're not acting on their experience is because they have their own revulsion based on biblical teachings, and because they think that is the case, by taking out the Bible from the schools is removing that from those who would have that same emotional.
Well, what they're saying is that the Bible is their inherent source of morality, and without that, how could you have a sense of morality? And you know what the Bible endorses with regard to following a theocracy in which God makes the rules. I mean, what's stopping this God from promoting some tribalistic stuff like go ahead and you love me and respect your neighbor so long as they believe in the same God, but kill everyone else who doesn't believe, kill all the non-believers, torture them and stuff like that. I mean, we obviously don't do this now, or have sex slaves. We don't do this now. We don't believe in this now because we have a sense of like civil liberties and human rights and positive stuff like that. Accepted by the majority of 21st century people because statistically that's the best way to ensure individual autonomy and societal well-being. But I mean, you don't got this in biblical and correct scripture. You got some reasonable bits like love thy neighbor and forgiveness and all this stuff, and like we kind of others. But then you got horrible bits like marry young people or have sex slaves or slaves in general. Oh, you could beat them, but just so long as you don't kill them. And if they get up, you can you're not going to be punished or anything like that. Now, and they want to say that times has changed now, but if they're essentially saying that they want a society where their religion runs everything, it's gonna be on the basis. Discrimination is going to be on to the basis of their religious views, and if majority rules and minority rights don't mean anything, then we're not going to have equality. We're not going to have democracy. It's not going to matter. It's going to go down the crapper, and it doesn't work like that.
No, too true.
I will say that I want sex slaves, but you guys won't let me have any.
Yeah, well, Durkin, you're weird, so I don't know. Maybe you should get that through appeals or something like that. But let's see. Final thoughts on this. We're gonna throw the listeners a bonus, and we're probably gonna talk about Malala. But what final thoughts on that?
No, not really. I think we covered everything in that. You there, Wolf?
Yeah, I'm just bringing up this article on this brave little Muslim girl who actually cares about her country. Apparently, she won some prize money and she donated it to rebuild some Gaza schools or build them or something like that. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay, going down. Malala donates prize money to help rebuild 65 damaged schools in Gaza. Okay. So apparently the young Pakistani activist shit, hold on. You know what, fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it without the article. Fuck that shit. Look at my wait. Yeah, fuck it, because it pissed me off. We'll do it without the article. Yeah, anyway, okay, so apparently she's got a shit ton of cash. She's using it to rebuild 65 schools that were bombed in Gaza. And honestly, it's moments like this that sort of give me a sense of hope and optimism for, if we put resources towards positive things, we have the potential to gain a sense of help with regard to the global community if we give them the right resources and potential to do good. But at the same time, we have to back off and let them nation build themselves, as well as focusing on how we can make our society better. But we can't always be like super policing the world or anything like that. As superpowers, we have to be willing to let other more moderate people who are willing to use their heads as opposed to use their dogma to create negative aspects of society, but focus on what they can do better to help others. But what do you guys think with that?
I think she's probably being misrepresented as what actually happened, as she has been in the past. But I'm pretty sure the money came from some Kickstarter type thing that she got to do this, not that she got in, then she decided to do this.
Okay, well hold on. Let me just.
And there's a difference.
I actually got this. I actually finally got this article up. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, Malala Yousafzai something Arabic. I can't fucking pronounce it. Is putting her own allocates toward a global mission for change. The recent Nobel Peace Prize winner who gained international prominence for surviving gunshot wounds to the face at the hands of Taliban in 2012 announced on Wednesday that she is donating the apparently 50,000 she was given for the World Children's Prize toward the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees. The organization is rebuilding schools that were damaged in the Israel-Hamas conflict this summer, according to the Daily Beast. Innocent Palestinian children have suffered terribly and for too long, she said at the event in Stockholm on Wednesday, according to the NBC News noted. We must all work to ensure Palestinian boys and girls and all children everywhere receive a quality education and a safe environment, because without education, there will never be peace. The United Nations reported that 490 Palestinian children were killed in the 50-day conflict in Gaza, according to The Independent, and violence left roughly 20,000 homes in the area uninhabitable. As the Daily Beast reported, Malala's prize money will be used to help restore 65 schools that were damaged in the conflict. The Pakistani activist has been advocating for human rights for years. More recently, Malala made headlines calling the world to act in saving the kidnapped Nigerian schoolgirls in Boko Haram, helping Syrian refugees cross the border into neighboring Jordan to find safety and civil
That's exactly what I said.
peace.
She didn't get the money and then decide to build the schools. She got the money to build the schools based on the organization that's being put forward, that she's a good person for doing it. Either way, she is a good person for doing that, but it's important to be honest when reporting this type of stuff, because it does twist the narrative just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the fact that because there are positive and moderate people, within that region who are actually striving to make a big difference, I think that gives me a sense of hope that there's some progress being made and some, and if we can encourage that, but not necessarily indirectly, not directly, there could be potential for some change and some progress to be made out there. But Chaz, what do you think?
I think, even people helping for the wrong reasons are still ultimately doing the right thing in a lot of regards. I mean, she's, doing some stuff that she thinks is well-meaning, and probably a lot of it's got to do with her feeling good about herself. And I think it's just something that should be celebrated a little bit. I don't think she's some hero, I think rather than idolizing her for doing this, people should just do it themselves. You know, but it's one of those situations where we can tend to sort of go, well, we put our 2 cents in, that'll do, and then we wonder why all the problems of the world don't get solved. We all did our little bit. There's a little bit more to do than just your little bit.
And I would point out that this type of thing could actually cause more problems in the long run, because it is more of what she got shot for in the first place, and why the Taliban are like what their political agenda is, which is to stop Western influence, and this is pretty much Western influence too. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the Taliban's even got to be smart enough to realise you start bombing like hospitals, you're gonna look bad. Why do you think so many people in history, one of the first thing they've done when they've conquered a brand of people is build a hospital? Because nobody's going to attack a hospital, because they're going to end up killing loads of their own in the process, and that's going to be having thousands of people whose children, mothers, sisters and stuff died in that bombing, and are going to blame the bombers, not the Westerners.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if all you saw with regard to what you produce is destruction and chaos, I mean, you're going to be looked on more negatively. But it's only when you actually actually put forth a semblance of progress that's the only way you're going to actually like make something great for everyone. But you know, that's sort of the end of the show. This has been Wolf King with Chaz, Durican, and Xbox, who dropped out a little earlier, and this has been the Wolf King's Radio Show. Well, Wolf Guns Radio Show. Step into the den next time, and have a happy Halloween, everybody. We're out.